are the mother of all evils. It is the mother of all evils. Because of intoxication, there is so much of evil in society. Molestation, rape, disease, etc., several. And the Prophet said that 10 categories of people are cursed, those who are involved with alcohol. It's mentioned in Ibn Majah, volume number 3, in the book of intoxicants, chapter number 30, hadith number 3380. And the Prophet said, anyone who's involved in 10 categories with alcohol, Allah's curse is on such people. Those that distill alcohol, those who distill it for others, those who drink it, those who transport it, those who transport it for somebody else, those who serve it, those who sell it, those who utilize the profits of the sales, those who buy it, and those who buy it for someone else. All these 10 types of people, Allah's curse is on these people. And there are several diseases which a person can have by having intoxicants. You can give a talk only on the ill effects of alcohol, which the Western world knows about it. Not that they don't know. Therefore, they have several resolutions passed, which I shall discuss one later on. And you can give a talk, only listing the names of diseases will take you a full day. I'll just mention a few. One of the most dangerous diseases, which is associated with the person drinking alcohol, is cirrhosis of liver. Having intoxicants, a person can also have carcinoma of the esophagus, carcinoma of the head and neck, carcinoma of the stomach, carcinoma of the liver. A person can have esophagitis, gastritis, pancreatitis, hepatitis. He can have cardiomyopathy. He can have angina. He can have hypertension. He can have atherosclerosis. All these are associated with having alcohol. A person can have peripheral neuropathy, cortical atrophy, cerebral atrophy if he has alcohol. A person can be associated with strokes, with fits, with paralysis, with apoplexy. A person can have Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, which is a syndrome associated with loss of immediate memory and confabulation and retention of past memory due to thiamine deficiency, which is associated with intake of alcohol. A person can also have disease like pellagra, beriberi. He can have delirium tremens. It takes place a lot of time post-operatively, and infection, and especially a person who abstains from intoxicants. And if a person is suffering from this, even in advanced hospitals, sometimes he can die. He can have several endocrine disorders, such as myxedema, hypothyroidism, Cushing syndrome. He can have hematological disorders, like Zine syndrome. He can have folic acid deficiency, in which there is microcytic anemia. He can have platelet disorders, thrombocytopenia. Common drugs which a person takes, like flagyl, that's metronidazole, can come in between if he regularly takes alcohol. If a person takes alcohol regularly, his power to fight the diseases, his immunity goes down. There are chances of infection of the respiratory tract. There can be diseases of the lung like emphysema, like pulmonary tuberculosis, like lung abscess. And when a person vomits, his cough reflex is reduced during intoxicant, and the vomitus can go into the lung, causing lung abscess as well as emphysema. A person can even die due to this problem. And this problem of intoxicants, of alcohol, is further multiplied in the woman. A woman has more chances of cirrhosis of liver as compared to the man. And if a woman is pregnant, and if she takes alcohol, there are chances of having alcohol fetus syndrome. It even affects the baby. There are several diseases. There can be skin disease like alopecia, eczema, paronychia, stomatitis. Several diseases. You can only list the diseases for days together and discuss for months together. But today's doctors, the Westerners, they tell us in the medical journals that alcoholism is a disease. It's a disease. It's not addiction. You know, like how you have typhoid, you have pulmonary tuberculosis, and normally people are sympathetic towards people who have disease. If a person is sick, you are sympathetic. Poor person. He has got typhoid, he has got influenza, he's suffering from illness. So today's doctors tell us that alcoholism is a disease. So I tell them, if alcoholism is a disease, it is the only disease that is sold in bottles. It's the only disease that has a licensed outlet for its sale. It is the only disease that brings the revenue to several governments of the world, including the Western government. It's the only disease that is advertised in the television, on the satellite, on the radio, in the newspapers, in the magazines. It is the only disease which brings violent deaths on the highways. It is the only disease that destroys families. It is the only disease which has got no viral or germ cause. It's not a disease. The Quran says in Surah Ma'idah chapter 5 verse number 90, "Rijsum min amali shaitan, fajtanibu la'allakum tuflihun." It's not a disease, it's a Satan's handiwork. Abstain from this handiwork that you may prosper. And Islam also has a solution. There are chances that you may get allured by these problems which the West has, which the world has. So Islam has a solution how to stay away from this problem. That is Salah. Salah doesn't only mean prayer. To pray means to ask for help, to beseech. In Salah, besides asking for help, we also seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's guidance and we also praise Him. Therefore, I prefer calling Salah as a sort of programming, sort of conditioning. Because in the Salah, we are conditioned, we are programmed. But if someone says, "Where are you going?" and if you say, "I'm going for programming or brainwashing," it will sound odd. Therefore, if people say prayer for Salah, I've got no objection. But that doesn't denote the complete meaning of Salah. Because in Salah, we are being reminded. When the Imam recites certain verses, after Surah Fatiha, he may recite Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse 188, that do not use your wealth as bait for judges. That means do not bribe. He may recite Surah Ma'idah chapter 5 verse number 90, that intoxicants and gambling is the Satan's handiwork. We are being programmed again and again. Because the world allures you so much, there are chances that we can get deprogrammed. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown us a solution that how to keep us reprogrammed. It's a sort of conditioning. Today, the Western world, they're afraid of only one thing. The maximum that the Western world today is afraid of is of Islam. By Western world, I mean the leaders of the Western world. They are afraid of Islam. They are afraid. You know why? Because the amount of enjoyment that they're taking is because of all the evil that's in society. Western world is afraid that if all these evils stop, if Islam becomes prevalent, all these evil will stop. Alcohol will stop, dancing will stop, and courting will stop, raping will stop, and who will fill their coffers? So the leaders of the Western world, most of them, they are afraid of Islam. That's the reason the media regularly is pumping information against Islam. On the television, if you hear, on the radio, in the magazines, in the newspaper, all the information is against Islam, is maligning Islam. If you hear any bomb blast that takes place, it has to be a Muslim. These Muslims, they are fundamentalists and terrorists. Even the Oklahoma bombing, the headline was, "Middle East conspiracy." After some time, when they come to know, it was an American soldier. But that comes inside in the page, it doesn't come on the headlines. Muslims are fundamentalists, comes on the headlines, and the real reason comes inside. And you have certain times, even in some countries, that a 50-year-old Muslim, he has married a 16-year-old girl. Small letters with permission, that's there. But 50-year-old Muslim marries a 16-year-old girl. Headlines on the front page it will come. But when a non-Muslim 50-year-old man rapes a 6-year-old girl, it may come in news briefs. So news briefs, somewhere in the corner, 50-year-old man, it's so common. So with permission, if you marry with the permission of the girl, of the parents, it doesn't go down the throat. So therefore, the leaders of the Western world, they are maligning Islam. Muslims are fundamentalists, Muslims are terrorists, Islam subjugates the woman, and all these. The answers of all these are given in my cassette, Women's Rights to Islam. It's even given misconception about Islam, you can refer to that. But in spite of this, though the Western leaders are against Islam, alhamdulillah, many Westerners are coming to Islam. The right word would not be, the question posed is, why is the West coming to Islam? And the actual answer is, the West is not coming to Islam, the West is returning to Islam. Because our beloved Prophet said that every man is born in Dinul Fitr. That means innate religion. He's born as a Muslim. Later on, due to the influence of elders and parents and other people, the child starts doing idol worship or fire worship. So the right word is, people say convert, I normally say revert. Convert means the person from one track goes to the other. Revert means the person on the right track, he goes to the wrong track and comes back to the right track. So the more correct and appropriate word is revert. Therefore, I would say the West is not coming, the West is returning to Islam, because Islam has a solution to the problems of mankind. And not only the West, Islam is not only meant for the West, Islam is meant for the whole of humankind. The glorious Quran was not revealed only for the Muslims or the Arabs, or only for the Western world. It's mentioned in the Quran in Surah Ibrahim, chapter 14, verse number 1. Alif Lam Ra. These are the ayats of the book, which we have revealed to thee, O Prophet Muhammad, so that you may lead the humankind from darkness to light. Not only lead the Muslims or the Arabs or the Western world, lead the whole of humankind from darkness to light. Quran says in Surah Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 185, that Ramadan was the month in which the Quran was revealed, as a criteria to judge right from wrong, as a guide to the whole of humankind. Quran says in Surah Al-Zumur, chapter 39, verse number 41, that we have revealed to thee, Prophet Muhammad, the book to instruct humankind, not only to instruct the Arabs or the Muslims or the Westerners, to instruct the whole of humankind. And Prophet Muhammad was not sent as a messenger to the Muslims or the Arabs alone, or to the Western world alone. Quran says in Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, verse number 107, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, that we have sent thee not but as a mercy to all the worlds, as a mercy to all the creatures, as a mercy to the whole of humankind. Quran says in Surah Sabah, chapter 34, verse 28, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَّةً لِلنَّاسِ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, that we have sent thee not but as a universal messenger, giving them glad tidings and warning them against sin. But most of the human beings, they do not know. So Islam is not a religion only for the West, it's a religion for the whole of humankind. No wonder if you read the articles of Plain Truth, which was a reproduction of articles that came in the Reader Digest Almanac Yearbook, 1986, it gave the statistics of the increase of the percentage of major world religions from the year 1934 to 1984. In the span of 50 years, it gave the increase of the percentage of major world religion. Number one was Islam, 235%. Christianity, only 47%. Today, the fastest growing religion in America is Islam. The fastest growing religion in Europe is Islam. And that's the prophecy which has come true. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, in Surah Saf, chapter 61, verse number 9, as well as Surah Tawbah, chapter number 9, verse number 33, هُوَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلَ رَسُولَهُ بِالْهُدَى وَدِينِ الْحَقِّ لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ, that Allah has sent His messenger with wisdom and the religion of truth, so that it will prevail over all the other religions, over all the other isms, over all the other ways of life, whether it be atheism, secularism, Marxism, communism, Westernism. Islam is destined to supersede all, master them all, overcome them all. وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ, however much the mushriks don't like it, however much the idol worshippers don't like it. And the same message repeated for the third time with a different ending in Surah Fatah, chapter 48, verse number 28, that هُوَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلَ رَسُولَهُ بِالْهُدَى وَدِينِ الْحَقِّ لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ وَكَفَىٰ بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا. Allah has sent His messenger with wisdom and the religion of truth, so that it will prevail over all the other isms, over all the other ways of life, whether it be Hinduism, Judaism, Christianism, communism, secularism, atheism, Westernism. Islam is destined to supersede all, master them all, overcome them all. And enough is Allah as a witness. Allah is giving shahada that this religion of Islam will prevail throughout the world. I would like to end my talk by giving the translation of the verse which I started my talk with from Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3, verse number 19, which says, Inna dina indallahi al-Islam. The only religion acceptable in the sight of Allah is Islam. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.
Thank you, Dr. Zakir.